Hello and welcome to the Inns of Court Regiment channel. Today we'll be covering the events of April the 29th to May the 3rd, 1945. April the 29th. Operation Enterprise. The Allied crossing of the River Elbe had been brought forward by 2 days so that the Allied advance could proceed ahead of the expected increase of refugees in the operation area due to the Soviet advance to the east. The Inns of Court Regiment would again be providing flank protection to the 11th Armoured Division, which were not expected to cross the River Elbe until the 30th. In the evening, the regiment was briefed on their orders and the situation. The 11th Armoured Division was to break out and reach the Baltic coast after it had crossed the River Elbe. The left flank was to be made the responsibility of D Squadron and the right of C Squadron. April the 30th. By midday, the River Elbe had been bridged at Appenberg, and the bridgehead on the far bank was ever growing. At 2100 hours, C and D Squadron were called into action to prepare for their upcoming crossing. Shortly before midnight, the 11th Armoured Division started to cross over. C Squadron attached themselves to the 29th Armoured Brigade for the upcoming crossing. A and B Squadron stayed the night at Salzhausen, while D Squadron waited on the road to Lüneburg. May the 1st. C Squadron crossed the River Elbe at 0130 hours, followed by D Squadron at 0230 hours. Both squadrons harboured in fields 2 kilometres to the north of the crossing. At 0900 hours, D and C Squadron were called into action. They jointly travelled to Schwarzenbeck before parting ways and taking up their flank protection duties. D Squadron's patrols were engaged by the enemy at Bunstorf and the eastern edges of the Sachsenwald forest, with the patrols being left in observation. Haverkost was found to be clear and the patrol pushed on north to Moenzen. West of Moenzen, a Dingo scout car was hit by a Panzerfaust, killing Lance Corporal R. Bridgeland and Trooper J. Wickham. The rest of the troop had to await a troop of tanks before it could disengage and return to Haverkost. Meanwhile, C Squadron was making slow progress due to destroyed bridges and enemy resistance. At Zams, tanks had to be called upon to clear the way. Once cleared, the patrols pushed on to Kankakau and Großpampau, where contact with the enemy was once again reached and progress halted. D Squadron had managed to reach Basthorst, from which patrols had been sent out from. One patrol managed to reach Hamfeld, the bridge was taken intact. In the afternoon, A and B Squadrons crossed the River Elbe and concentrated at Grova. In the late evening, A Squadron took over D Squadron's positions on the eastern edges of the Sachsenwald forest. Relieved elements of D Squadron rested at Haverkost, while other elements remained in their positions. C Squadron was mostly recalled to Schwarzenbeck, apart from 2 squadrons at Kankalau, which were kept out all night. May the 2nd. C Squadron's patrols at Kankalau remained in position for the majority of the morning. A Squadron's patrols on the eastern edges of the Sachsenwald forest also remained in situ, while the rest of A Squadron moved out at 0800 hours to Moonrada. B Squadron pushed on past C Squadron on the right flank, meeting little resistance and keeping in contact with the 5th British Infantry Division. D Squadron on the left flank kept up with the division's advance, dropping off patrols as they went. At Grossensee, a small group of SS soldiers held out and a patrol had to be left in observation. Enemy resistance was also encountered at Sprenger. The division's advance was so rapid that A Squadron relieved D Squadron's patrols on the left flank, allowing these patrols to leapfrog ahead to the front of the advance. Throughout the day, large numbers of German soldiers were surrendering, so much so that there wasn't enough transport vehicles to ferry them to POW holding camps. In some cases, the Germans drove themselves to the POW camps in their own military trucks and civilian vehicles, ranging from donkey carts to fire trucks. By midday, the 11th Armoured Division had reached the autobahn that ran from Hamburg to Lübeck, and by 1550 hours had captured Lübeck, Bad Oldesloe and Rheinfeld. D Squadron harboured in Bad Oldesloe, C Squadron in Rheinfeld, B Squadron at Siebenbaumen, and A Squadron at Lüttensee. Some patrols from A Squadron were kept out at Grossensee and Sprenger due to the continued resistance from the enemy. May the 3rd. A Squadron's patrols at Grossensee and Sprenger held their position from the previous night, while the rest of the squadron rested at Lüttensee. B Squadron were kept in reserve at Siebenbaumen. C Squadron was ordered to wrecking north of Rheinfeld. Their patrols reached Geschendorf, where they met no resistance and captured hundreds of prisoners. C Squadron retired in Geschendorf for the night. D Squadron was ordered to wreck the road from Bad Oldesloe to Bad Segeberg, which was found to be clear. The patrols continued to Scharkendorf as well as all villages within a 5-mile radius, accepting their surrender upon arrival. At 1330 hours, A Squadron moved north from their previous positions to Fahrenkirch. B Squadron also moved to Medzen. At 1500 hours, D Squadron was assisted by the 3rd Royal Tank Regiment with escorting a German general to Neumünster, whom had been involved in peace talks. The escort duty stopped a few miles in, though, such as not to interfere with the negotiations by occupying the newly established neutral zone. D Squadron retired in Reekeling for the night. Losses over these days were 2 killed in action, with a single Dingo scout car being destroyed. References are on screen, and I hope you can join me next time for the conclusion of hostilities. Kind regards, and cheerio.